Well, hello there, fabulous authors. Welcome back to another episode of RTTV, Reading Transforms Television. Today, we're going to be talking all about Snapchat and Instagram stories. Now, we know that they're kind of similar, but they do have some major differences. We're going to be breaking down what you need to know about these two platforms and when you, as an author, should be using them. So let's jump in.
Welcome to RTTV, brought to you by Reading Transforms, with your host, K.m. Robinson of K.m. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. If you look to the right of your screen, you will note a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions and comment throughout the show. Our moderators will be watching the feed and collecting questions for our hosts to answer during the end of the broadcast. Use the red question mark tab to differentiate your questions from your comments in the feed. If you are a member of our Facebook community and our weekly newsletter, your notes will be emailed to you shortly. Make sure that you are active this week in our Facebook community for deeper insights into how to apply this into your marketing strategy and for ongoing support. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast that will revolutionize your author branding, book marketing, and social media marketing strategies.
So today we are talking about both Instagram Stories and Snapchat. Now, Instagram Stories is an amazing platform addition to Instagram. You know that can be found up at the top of your Instagram page. So when you go on your phone and you look at the top of your Instagram, those are the ones that are highlighted up at the very top in those little circles. They've got the little rainbow color around them, and they tell you when there's a new story. Stories are amazing because they are short micro videos or photos in a series that tell kind of a story that then disappear after 24 hours. So they only live within the Instagram platform for 24 hours. Now, this is very similar to Snapchat, where you can be taking these micro videos or these photos and putting them into a story that only lasts for 24 hours. Now, there are some major differences, and I want to break those down for you today because it can be a little confusing if you're not familiar with both of these platforms. So a lot of authors have asked me, why would I use Snapchat when I have Instagram Stories? Or why would I use Instagram Stories when I already have Snapchat? What are the differences? What makes it more valuable? Do I need both? Should I be using both? All of that today because I've got some really interesting answers for you. Now you know at Reading Transforms, I love my social media platforms and I love Instagram Stories and I love Snapchat, which is kind of interesting because a lot of authors hate Snapchat. They absolutely hate it. Long before Instagram Stories was even a thing, I was teaching how to use Long before Instagram Stories was even a thing, I was teaching how to use Snapchat as an author and how to use it to market it to your fans. Now, this is not going to be for everybody. It's definitely not going to be for all types of authors. I'm specifically looking at young adult and maybe new adult authors with this. This is not a platform that's going to be massive for other types of authors. So keep listening if you are a different type of author, but not everything is going to be super applicable to you, but you will be learning how you should be using Instagram Stories, and everybody needs to be taking advantage of that. So here we go. Let's break this down just a little bit. Let's talk about Snapchat first because Snapchat was the first one to come along, and it is probably the most confusing to people. So we know with both platforms, they have what they call filters, and filters are different things that you put over your image. So in Instagram Stories, you get like the rainbow filter, the black and white filter, the high pass filter, the whatever, just kind of filters over it. In Snapchat, you actually get more options for filters, and they do what they call masks, which is something that actually has been implemented into Facebook Live. Interesting. Now, if you've been following Reading Transforms, we actually did a tutorial on this. We showed you how to do it live on air. Kind of weird, and I don't use that particular platform edition within my businesses. Not as an author, not as Reading Transforms, not as a photographer, not in any way, shape, or form. I'm not a fan of that, but it is something you do have an option of using brand, and it does not necessarily mean it's wrong for your brand. It's just something I do not use in my brand. Now we know Facebook owns Instagram, so that's the connection there. But with Snapchat, they have what we call they call them filters, but really they're like masks. So it maps your face. So once you get into the Snapchat app, you can actually hold down your finger over your face when you're on your screen, and it will map out your features. Then you can swipe through and add different filters or masks to yourself. So sometimes you might look like a bunny rabbit, and they might change your voice. Sometimes they might give you a floral crown. They could do a football helmet, or they could do a giraffe or a puppy dog with a long tongue. There's all sorts of really interesting masks, and they actually change these day by day. Now, some of them are staple. You can pretty much always find a floral crown. You can pretty much always find the puppy dog. But then they rotate through some of the different things. They also allow people and businesses to pay to create one of these mask filters. So for a specific day or a specific couple of days, there will be something unique out there. So let's say a hair place or a makeup place wanted to do something within Snapchat. They would do kind of like a makeup filter where it would powder your face and then give you fake makeup, and then their logo would be in the corner. Or if it's football season, they would let a team create a helmet or like a cheerleader type thing, and they would put their logo in the corner. There's a new movie coming out. They might dress you up like whatever that movie is about and put the movie logo in the corner. And that's how they get publicity through this. So there are different options, and you can't always find the same thing. So it's going to be different, but there are some staples. And then sometimes they take the staples and dress them up a little bit for holidays. So they have a deer that is a staple, and it gives you little antlers and ears, and you talk in a high-pitched voice, and they actually change it for like Valentine's Day to be all cute and pink and hearts and things like that. So they will dress things up and change them a little bit day by day. And you can use this within your videos to kind of add a little bit of flair to it. Now, is this the most professional thing in the world? Probably not, but it depends on how you're using it for your business. So Snapchat is not necessarily the most professional, and it's certainly not going to be as curated as your Instagram stories feed is going to be. But we're going to get back to that. So let's jump over to Instagram stories and talk about what exactly their filters are like. So we touched on this a little bit. Their filters are going to be more of colors and actual filters. So you'll get black and white. You'll get this high pass, high lighting, high key lighting. It's, sorry, as a photographer, it bothers me a little bit. They've got like a rainbow filter, so it makes pink and orange and yellows and purples and blues throughout your image. And they've got things like your location and weather and things like that, as does Snapchat. Snapchat allows you to do that as well. So there's some interesting things you can put out there, but Instagram Stories does not give you as many options as Snapchat because they don't do that masking thing, which is probably good because you want to appear a little more professional over on Instagram. You want to be a little more curated and a little bit more high-end over there. So now that we've kind of talked about what Snapchat is and what Instagram is, let's really break down why you would be using both of these and when you would be using both of these. Now, I do recommend that as an author, specifically as a young adult or new adult author, you are using both. Now, why is that? Well, let's break this down. Everybody's on Instagram. You need to be on Instagram. Instagram is professional, it's curated, it's gorgeous, and more people are being driven to Instagram. Right now, the big platforms are Instagram and Facebook. And this is within all businesses, but it's especially big in the book world. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, what about Twitter? Hang out with me on Reading Transforms. You're going to see some opinions about Twitter and the current state of Twitter and what's going on with Twitter and maybe a few predictions about Twitter. I am not putting a ton of effort into Twitter right now. There are reasons for that. That does not mean I'm letting it go. I'm still using it. I'm still taking advantage of it while we have it. But I recommend to my clients, and I do this in my own businesses and my own brands, my focus is on Instagram and is on Facebook. Those are the big two. So, Instagram is really important to be taking advantage of. Everybody should be using it, and everybody should be using stories. Stories delete after 24 hours. It gives exclusivity. It gives you the ability to address them a little more personally, and you can be a little less curated because it only lasts for 24 hours. So your Instagram feed needs to be highly curated. It should look like a magazine. It should be very intentional and strategic and beautiful. Your Instagram stories can be a little less professional, a little less beautiful, a little less magazine-like, but still needs to be effective at communicating with your fans and stay within the same vein as your Instagram feed. So if I am creating an Instagram story, it has to be valuable to my fans. It has to be very valuable, it has to communicate information, and it has to stay true to what my brand is on Instagram. So that does not mean that if I have this gorgeous curated feed full of my book and behind the scenes on my book and videos and interviews and really amazing bonus stuff for my fans, It does not mean that I can turn around in my Instagram stories and start showing you my lattes every single day. I don't drink lattes, but you get the idea. I'm not showing off my cat. I'm not showing off my coffee. I am not, complaining about my drive to work. That's not what we're doing. You gotta make sure it stays within that professional vein. So you are adding quality, valuable information to your fans through Instagram stories in the form of things that are a little more timely, a little more exclusive, and a little more real time. So instead of maybe talking about a contest that I'm doing in my Instagram feed, where I would talk about that a couple days in advance and kind of have this really nice graphic and then a really great comment about it, I could jump on stories and break it down and say exactly what I'm doing that day for that contest. Like, hey, I had 13 entries come in today. I'm reading through the entries, or I am doing the photo shoot for the prizes for this contest, or show a behind the scenes of how you're selecting the contest winner. It's all got to be connected, but it can be a little more real time and a little more personal than your curated feed. Snapchat, however, is kind of interesting. It's an interesting beast over there at Snapchat because it's a little bit different. It's a little more personal. So it's less curated. You do not have an actual feed that you have to stay true to. So you get to do what you want to do. You still need to make sure it's valuable to your fans. So if you are jumping on just to show pictures of your kitty, you may have a couple of your fans who want to follow the journey of your kitty, but more or less, they don't really care. So you still have to stay true to your brand, but it's more personal. So you could jump on, put a little mask on, so you hold it down and put on that floral crown, or put on the sunglasses that reflect things in the background, the fake things in the background, and have a discussion with them. Tell them what you're doing, tell them what's going on, break things down in your life. You can be a little more personal, a little more funny. If you mess things up, it's cool. It's Snapchat. We're all chilling, laid back over here at Snapchat. Instagram needs to be just a little more professional. And that doesn't mean you can't mess up. If you've recently watched my Instagram stories, there was a time in the last 2 or 3 weeks where I went to do a story and my tongue tripped me up and I don't even know what I said, but I couldn't get my word out right. And I kind of stumbled over my words and I just broke out into song. And I thought it was funny. It was personal, but it still kind of, it let people have that connection to me, but it was still communicating that valuable information and showing that I am a human too, and sometimes I make mistakes. So I actually added that to my Instagram stories. It's not something I would do all the time, but every once in a while it's good to have that personable connection with people. Snapchat is far more chill. So if you mess something up, whatevs. If you say something weird, whatever. If you want to play with the different masks, go do it. If you want to comment on the different masks and how strange your voice sounds in that little high-pitched bunny voice, at it. People are far more chill, but it's a specific audience. So who is on Snapchat and who's on Instagram stories? Everybody's on Instagram stories. I'll tell you that much. You have all ages on Instagram stories. Everybody's watching Instagram stories. Instagram stories is huge because Bookstagram within the book industry is huge. It's a big thing. So everyone's on Instagram. Everybody is on Instagram, but not everybody's on Twitter. Not everybody is necessarily on Facebook, but that is swinging over to be trending toward Facebook. So we've been actually following this for the last year or two. And vast numbers of people are moving back to Facebook, especially with the addition of the Facebook Live platform. And people are actually trending away from Twitter. So everyone's on Instagram right now. Everyone. So your adult readers, your teenage readers, your young adult readers, everybody is going to be on Instagram. If you are middle grades, guys, you even have people who are far too young to be on Instagram following you. So everybody's on Instagram, and because Stories is relatively new, you actually have, the ability to take advantage of this and to be the cool person who actually takes advantage of it. Because a lot of authors are not. If you notice, if you follow a lot of authors, so very many of them are not taking advantage of Instagram stories, and that does not help their case. That does not help their cause, because those of us that are getting all the views, honey. Those people aren't. And then people are going to remember if you are giving out valuable, unique information to them, you are making them want to be there. If you're giving them a reason to watch your stories, they will continue to watch your stories. But if you mess up and you do something lame like just a bunch of cat photos or just a bunch of complaining about your drive to work videos, or you're just showing off your coffee from the cafe this morning, that's not valuable to them. They are not going to keep watching you no matter how long you work on your stories. So you have to be very careful with what you're putting on your stories. It's very, very important, but very valuable because everyone's on Instagram and everyone is checking out your stories. and you have one chance to get their attention. So if you can get their attention, you got them for life. If you mess it up, you've pretty much lost them. It's going to be really hard to get them back. Instagram Stories is amazing. Everybody's on it. You have to take advantage of it. Snapchat is more for teenagers and young adults. So with Snapchat, we are looking at between like 15 years old up to like 30-ish years old. Those are the people that are really active on Snapchat. That does not mean that people older or younger are not on Snapchat, but those are the people that are like really focused on Snapchat. And those same people are also going to be on your Instagram Stories. So if it comes down to picking one or the other, for the love of all things good, please pick Instagram Stories. But if you can, and I highly suggest you do, take advantage of Snapchat as well. It's more personable, it's more chill and laid back, people are far more forgiving, and they just kind of want to see who you are and what you do and how you are playful with them. So Snapchat is really cool because you just kind of get to relax and tell them what's going on, you get to hang out, it's a little more experiential, it's kind of just, chill. This is what would be like if you were friends with these people. So Instagram Stories is more for communicating professional stuff and for making connections with book people. Snapchat is more chill, laid back, like day to day, this is what's going on, I'm just going to hang out with you kind of a thing. So that's more of a developing relationship type of tool. And yes, you are communicating valuable information, but it's more fun. It's more chill, it's more laid back, it's more of a way to connect with teenagers and young adults. So this is not going to be for everyone. So if you are a romance writer, I personally can see a million different ways that you can be using Snapchat. But are you going to have a ton of fans? Only if you grow your following. Instagram, you already have people built in because they're following your feed. So kind of a trade-off there. So let's break it down. I want to give you 5 different times when you should be using Instagram Stories and 5 different times you should be using Snapchat. So go ahead, drop comments if you have them for me. Chat box is on the right. You know the drill. Question mark if you have questions. That highlights it red for me so I know what we're looking at. And I'm going to break down some different times you should be using Instagram Stories and different times you should be using Snapchat. So let's talk. I'm going to grab some water real quick while you're popping questions in. Okay, Instagram Stories. Like I said, Instagram Stories is a little more professional, it's a little more high-end, it's definitely more curated, and it must stay in line with your branding and your Instagram presence. So they've got to be connected to that feed. Does it necessarily mean you have to look like a model all the time? You don't. It does give you the opportunity to be more personal. It gives you the opportunity to have that day-to-day real-life connection with them, real-time connection with them, and that's amazing. So 5 times I want you to use Instagram Stories. Behind the scenes of your book work. So if you are writing something new, if you are working on your manuscript today, I want you to get on Instagram Stories, take a picture of what you're writing, or take a video clip and saying, hey, I'm working on the sequel to this book. This is kind of the scene I'm working on. What do you guys think? What do you think should happen next? Asking questions, get them involved. Do a series of short video clips or photos to kind of let them feel like they are sitting next to you, working on this manuscript or watching you work on this manuscript. And you can even give them some input. Hey, I'm naming a new character. What do you think about this name? Hey, they're going to this place. Do you think I should add this in or not? Hey, if you could name this new character anything you thought that you might like, what would that be? Give them some input. Let them feel like they're part of your day-to-day life within the writing world, but keep it to the writing world. I don't necessarily want you going on saying, which latte should I get? Now that's okay every once in a while because you do want to give them opinions. You want to let them help you figure out your life. It's awesome like that, but that is not something you should be doing all the time. That is like a once in a while thing. That's more of a Snapchat thing. Like I'm walking into Starbucks. Oh, look, here's my Starbucks latte. I'm going to sit down and write as I'm doing my Starbucks latte thing. You get the idea. Back to Instagram Stories. The second thing I want you to do, or the second thing you could do within Instagram Stories, is tours. So that might mean a tour of your writing space. So take your phone, hold it up, show them your work desk, show them your computer, show them the pens that sit next to you as you are writing, show them your writing space. If you're outside, show them the deck by the pool that you are sitting on as you are editing your book. Show them where you're working. Give them tours. Videos, photos, it's all good. You can also do something like events. So this is in person, or this is online. So I want you to get on and talk about your events. If you write a book signing, for the love of all things good, that's apparently my word today, get in there and show them what you're doing. I did a book signing last week. It was amazing. And I jumped on to Instagram stories and I gave them a tour. I showed them my table. I showed them my banner. I showed them the people. I showed them a lovely person who was sitting there reading my book. Like, I kind of gave them the experience as if they were there with me watching what was going on and experiencing it. Side note, if you're doing something like that, also get yourself on Facebook Live and do live broadcasts. Show them people standing in line. Show yourself talking to people. Answer questions if you have some downtime. It's really important and totally, totally valuable to you and them. You can also be on your Instagram stories promoting online events. So if you have a chat coming up, get on and talk about it. If you have a live broadcast coming up, get on your Instagram stories and ask them which dress you should be wearing. If you have some kind of event that you're doing, like a snack party online, ask them what they want you to cook or teach them how to create to go with your book. You want to bring them into the decision-making process for your events or the experience of your events, whether they are online or in person. So get on there and show them as a professional, be their tour guide Barbie, and show them what's going on and let them experience it, even if they are not there sitting with you in person. I love it because it gives it that added depth to it, and it really lets them see something that they wouldn't ordinarily see, whether it is behind the scenes of the live event or an online event. And bonus, if you are doing an online event, so let's say you're having a party in Facebook, and you are in a Facebook group having this party and you're going through the comments and all that, hold your phone up and just like kind of highlight some of the comments and the conversations and point things out and whatever, so that people are aware that you're over on Facebook doing something. It's very promotional. Now, another way that you can use Instagram stories is for exclusives. So if you have announcements that you want to make out there, if you want to tell people about things that are coming up, I totally just combined my last two. My bad. Okay, so exclusives and announcements. Those are my last two for this. This is a great place to do it because you can give out that information with 24 hours of exclusivity. So if you know something's coming up, if you have an announcement, or if you have some kind of exclusive you want to tell about your characters, or about your book, or about something you're doing, or about signing a new book deal or something like that, you can get on and be like, hey, I've got a secret. It's coming up. Check back in a few hours. I have something for you. And build up to these exclusives. So the other day I went online and I said, hey, I've got a live broadcast today or tomorrow. Here's what you need to know. Come join me. And then I promoted it through Instagram stories and I really built that up, but it only lasts for 24 hours. So it's not like it's consistently in everybody's feed. If you can hear that, I apologize. Apparently my puppy is doing something upstairs. My bad. So exclusives and announcements are huge to do within Instagram stories because it only lasts for 24 hours and they have to see it to catch it. So especially with exclusive information, let's say I was going to jump on and tell one exclusive fact or 3 exclusive facts about my lead guide that you couldn't find anywhere else, but you have to get on Instagram stories to find it. I would jump on and I would do 3 separate videos and maybe a 4th or 5th one for an intro and a wrap up. And I would say, hey, listen, you have 24 hours to learn this information about this person. Go to my Instagram story. That's the only place that they can see it. Pro tip, you can save your stories both on Instagram and on Snapchat. So you can download those to your phone and then you can repurpose those over on your Facebook page, on YouTube, on your website. Don't forget that. It's important. Using this exclusivity and using this for announcements and using this for tours and events and different behind the scenes looks, super important, super in line with what you're doing within your brand and consistent with your feed. Make sure you're doing it in a professional capacity and you are doing it as a representation of your brand. So you, of course, are the representation of your brand. You are the person in charge of your brand and you have to make sure that you do that in a way that is professional and curated in a very nice way. So make sure you look nice, that you are speaking properly, because you're not just kind of like flopped over a couch. You want to make sure you're giving off a good presence within this video. Now, Snapchat is a whole different beast, as we keep talking about. 5 things I want you to do on Snapchat that you would not necessarily need to do over on Instagram stories. And remember, we're more personable here. We have that more chill relationship within Snapchat, and you're not getting all of your fans. You're getting a specific age range who's very active within Snapchat and looking for a specific type of content on Snapchat that they are not going to find over on Instagram stories. So the first thing that you can do is your everyday life behind the scenes. So like I said, over in Instagram stories, you are giving them the behind the scenes of your writer life This is where you can get into more of your personal life. So, did your cat do something funny? Okay, tell me. Do you have a really good coffee that you want to share? Okay, show me. You do not need to overwhelm me with your personal stuff, but you can kind of show me the behind the scenes of what you are doing. So let's say you've got some cool event today. Let's say you're going to a concert. Show me the behind the scenes of your concert. Getting ready, picking out your outfit, getting in the car, driving to the concert, talking about the concert, showing me clips of the concert, because I'm learning about you on a personal level. If you can connect it to your book, bonus points. But I'm a little more chill and laid back on Snapchat. I kind of want to get to know you a little more personally. Don't do that on your Instagram stories. Keep it to your writer life because that is in line with your branding. This is a little bit more personal. Now, that does not mean you cannot do the stuff that's in line with your branding on Snapchat. You absolutely should. You should be giving them quality content that's all about your books and all about what you're doing within your author brand. But it's okay to have a little more personal stuff on there. So if you are kind of, just hanging around the house doing stuff, okay, show me, but kind of relate it to your books a little bit. That is not something I want to see over on Instagram stories. So let's say you're just having a lazy Saturday and you are sitting around eating snacks and you've got some scented candles going and you're reading books. Show me pictures of your books. Show me pictures of you sitting on your couch with your book on your lap and your colorful socks in the background. Show me those on Snapchat, but don't show me those on Instagram stories. Keep that a little more professional. You can also do writerly behind the scenes. So if you have stuff that is not necessarily in line with your books, go ahead and talk about it. Show me stuff. I want to know about your writerly life. So focus in on the little day-to-day itty-bitty tasks. We did talk about doing that over on Instagram stories. That's important to do, but this you can be a little more focused on the less glamorous aspects of it. So on Snapchat, you might show me stuff specific to your book. On Instagram stories, you might show me stuff related to your book. What a day. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of notifications scrolling across my screen and it's distracting me. On Instagram stories, you're going to show me stuff more related to your book. On Snapchat, you can show me stuff that's just kind of there. So show me your new pens. Show me your new journal. Show me how you type one-handed on your computer. Show me your frustration when your Word document glitches on you and you lose a couple of your sentences or something. You get into your writerly life, but it can be a little more on the chill side and a little bit more on the laid-back, relaxed side. So with Instagram stories, keep it very professional sounding, professional looking, and educational. On Snapchat, you can be like, I hate writing. I hate writing this early in the morning. But, don't complain about everything. But you can be a little more personable, a little more laid back about it because not everybody can see it. And they do know it's more of a chilled environment. So keep it very professional over on Instagram stories. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm doing. Very positive, very upbeat, very educational. So you're helping out other writers. Within Snapchat, you're just like, and this is how I am eating my breakfast in one hand while I type with the other hand. And I'm going to do that right now while I'm working. So here we go. Let's join me. Kind of a thing, So you get to be a little more laid back about it and a little less streamlined and less curated. The next thing you can do is if you want to be silly. If you want to be silly about something, don't do it on Instagram stories, okay? You can be a little funny, but if you just want to kind of just vent in a funny way about stuff, get on Snapchat. And I don't mean vent like rage against the world. Please don't do that. But if you want to be like, I'm so tired that I don't want to write today, you can kind of jump over on Snapchat, put on the bunny filter and be like, I'm a tired bunny and I'm going to be writing. This would be a lot funnier if you would actually see the little bunny. But you can be silly about things. So you can go on and you can do voices or you can say funny things. You can come up with funny lines. You do not necessarily have to be as professional. So if you want to be silly, if you want to wear your hair weird, if you just want to be in a sweatshirt with your hair in a messy bun, hanging out on your couch with your computer on your lap, and you want to pull up the deer filter and talk about whatever scene you're writing, do it. You want to jump on and talk with your characters? Oh my goodness, I want you to do it. Not only do I want you to do it, but I want you to do that frequently. If you've got a main character guy who's doing something you don't like, get on Snapchat and vent about it. Pull up a really great filter. So pull up the glasses that have the fake reflection in them and just say, hey, this particular character is being kind of a jerk right now. I don't really want to talk to him, but I have to talk to him because I have to write, and just kind of like do your thing, but make it funny and do it with a funny filter and just kind of be silly about things. Do not get on your Instagram stories and complain about your characters or rat them out. You are ratting out your characters for whatever it is that they're doing, whether they're talking to you or not. Do that on Snapchat, because that's kind of more of an accepted thing over on Snapchat, because it's kind of more chill. But Instagram stories, you gotta be professional, remember, because everybody's seeing it and they're expecting more of a professional error from you. So, like I've got a character from a book that's coming out in June. My second series is coming out this June, and he drives me crazy. I did not want him in my book. I didn't want him anywhere near my book. He was supposed to have one scene, and he was supposed to be there just to have a communication with my main character. And this little worm weaseled his way into my book, and now he is super important, and he might even get like a spin-off or something. I would not complain about him on Instagram stories. I might say, hey, I didn't actually expect this character to be a part of my book, but he kind of talked his way in, and now he's here. I would get on Snapchat and be like, he is so smarmy. This is the smarmiest guy. He thinks he's all that. He can come up in here and take over my book like this, and I would just like rant about it in a funny way, not in a mean way, like not like I'm actually mad at him. But I would put on a filter, and I would just talk about this character and how we nicknamed him Smarmy, and how my best friend absolutely loved him, didn't even meet him, but absolutely loved him, and forbid me from writing him out, which I wasn't going to do anyway. But I would just get on there and do a series of like 5 video clips talking about how Smarmy is getting on my nerves today, because as I am writing the sequel, he did this particular thing that really annoyed me, but he has to do it because it's really important to the story, but he's so annoying to me. And I would just kind of like, anybody else feel like this? Anybody else calling him Smarmy? Do you guys have nicknames for him? Do you like him? Like, how are you feeling about this? Do you think we should kind of write him out of this scene, or what do you think we should do? Kind of like gang up on him over on Snapchat, because he's a character that's kind of annoying me a little bit. And I not necessarily take it back, but I will say I have developed more of an admiration for this character, and I do not want to see him go, but I will blow it up over on Snapchat because it's kind of funny. So rant about your characters, be silly about it, do something unique and interesting and more chill. So this is more conversational, less professional. So Instagram stories, you should be thinking of, what would you say to a large group of people if you were hanging out like at a school discussion or something like that? Snapchat is more like, oh, I'm no longer standing up in front of everyone, I'm talking to a small group of people, and we're just kind of chatting one-on-one. That's kind of what you should be thinking. So more of an on-stage for Instagram stories, and more of a off-stage with a small group of people, we're just kind of chatting behind the scenes, microphones are off kind of a thing. Make sense? The other thing you can do within Snapchat is going to be experiences other than book things. So if you are going to that concert, if you are going to some kind of event, if you are doing Frisbee golf today, show me behind the scenes. Yes, I want to learn a little bit about you over on Instagram stories. You should have a little bit of a personal thing, but you need to connect it to your books and to your fans and make it valuable to them. Because they probably don't necessarily care all the cool things they're doing, or that you're doing, unless there's a reason for it. Over on Snapchat, they're just trying to get to know you. They just want to hang out with you. It's a different type of audience. So you can be like, hey, I'm going disc golfing today. Oh, I totally failed at basketball today. Oh, I'm going on a horseback ride today. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other thing. You can be more experiential with the things you're doing outside of the book world and show them what you're up to. Pretty cool, right? So the last thing is in the process. And this is the less glamorous side of things. So we kind of touched on, if you're doing like a contest, you would show in the process the little details. If you are answering emails, I mean, that's not going to be the best Snapchat story by any means, unless you're a really funny person and can tell a story with it. But show the process. Show what you were doing, those little tiny steps to get to the bigger steps. You're showing the bigger steps on Instagram stories. You can show the tinier things that matter less over on Snapchat. So show in the process, show less glamorous stuff. Make it interesting. Like, if you're a funny person, just make it interesting. Masks always make it interesting, so if you are wearing one of their filters, it always makes it a little more interesting. But the key here is that we are doing this on-stage, off-stage thing. In the public eye, with a couple of people. So over on Instagram stories, you're being a little more professional, a little more curated, a little more on stage, like you are presenting this to someone, you are informing someone of this, you are having a personal conversation with people, but it's a larger group of people. Snapchat is far more intimate, far more behind the scenes, far more of a tiny group, not in public, does not need to be as curated, does not need to be as professional, can be laid back and chill of a thing. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's take a look at some of these questions that you have, get those answered, and then we are going to move on because we got stuff to do today, you know? All right, let's take a look. Okay, let's see. I am a young adult novelist. Do I really need Snapchat? I mean, it's up to you. It's up to your brand. You are going to reach a new audience with Snapchat. You will have crossover. People who are on Snapchat will also be on your Instagram stories. If you have to choose, pick Instagram stories. That is far more valuable and a far better resource to you than Snapchat. But that does not mean you should not make the time for Snapchat. In my opinion, you absolutely should. You need to do whatever you need to do to take care of your fans and take care of your brand. And that means investing your time. Yes, I understand that's more time. Yes, I understand that's more videos and photos you're taking and creating. Yes, I understand that you have to be there to monitor things and you have to interact with people. But there's far less interaction within Snapchat than within Instagram stories. So if people see your stories, sometimes they'll comment, they'll message. Over on Snapchat, they don't do it as much. So it's less maintenance. But yeah, you still have to do stuff. You still have to create stuff. And yes, it does still take time. It is worth it, in my opinion, every single time. Build up your following on Snapchat because teens and young adults, they're going to follow you on Snapchat. They are used to Snapchat. They are accustomed to Snapchat. They are following all of their friends on Snapchat. And then if they see you, they're going to want to learn more about you. They're going to want to see more about your life. But it's also a great tool for disseminating information to them through Snapchat because they aren't usually used to being pitched through Snapchat. There are some amazing brands and companies and personal brands that are taking advantage of Snapchat and using it to get information out there in a fun and creative way that is different than the other social media platforms. They are doing exceptionally well on Snapchat. But again, if you have to choose, Snapchat's awesome. Instagram Stories is better. Those are your choices. I highly recommend both. But if you can't do both, Snapchat is the one that I would let go and always go with Instagram Stories. Now, the other thing is with that, statistic-wise, you get far more views, far more people interacting, far more people involved with Instagram Stories than you do Snapchat. Snapchat is still valuable. It is still a great resource. It is free to you. It's free advertising, free marketing. If you are looking for a way to get yourself out there to your fans, Snapchat is a great resource for you. Take advantage of it. You don't have to pay for it. Take advantage for it. A couple minutes a day. A couple times a week. It's not hard. You can totally do it. It'll be awesome. Let me see. How do I keep my content in line with my Instagram feed? That is a good question. Okay, so listen, it can be a little on the hard side to keep things in alignment, but not really. There's a lot of resources over in Reading Transforms about how you keep that in alignment with your branding. So if you have posted something on your Instagram feed, jump in your stories and do a story about it. Let's say, like the other day, I posted that picture saying I was doing an Ask Me Anything earlier today. I posted that picture. Then I went on Instagram stories and I talked about it and I broke it down a little bit more. I asked for questions. I gave a little background about where I would be, what I would be doing, all of that loveliness, some of the different things we could discuss. So I would take what I had put on on Instagram, on my feed, and just go more in depth within my 24-hour Instagram stories. You can also do things related to the writing world. So let's say you're working on your book today. Give them information about your book. Give them a breakdown of your characters. Talk about their hobbies. Talk about things that didn't make the book. Talk about it as a lead scene. Talk about things that are going to make a difference to them and be valuable to them. Again, we've got tons of resources on creating valuable content that engages your fans and makes them come back to you time and time again. Check it out, readingtransforms.com, resources.readingtransforms.com, community.readingtransforms.com, all invaluable resources for you. But the goal here is just to keep it in alignment. Remember, you are staying professional. You are doing things specifically related to your book that will make a difference to your fans and be valuable to them. You are not doing your personal everyday life stuff. Save that for Snapchat. Save that for your friends and family. Save that for your personal Facebook page, not your business page. Okay? You just want to make sure that you are taking the time to keep it, kind of connected. Make sure it's valuable. Make sure it's the reason they want to be there. Make sure that you have something for them that's going to enhance their experience with you as an author and with your books. Let me see. Do you have more information about how to do the behind-the-scenes tours? Yes, I do. Yep, jump on to readingtransforms.com. We have all sorts of really great information about how you can do behind-the-scenes tours of your writing space, of what you're working on, of your events, of your contests, of your whatever it is that you're doing. There's tons of resources over there. Check that out. You're really just walking them through the process. So if you're showing off your writing space, literally point it at your feet and walk them through your house, from your door to your kitchen, through the kitchen, into the office space that you have. Show them the window that you need to look out, show them your desk, show them what you have on your desk, show them where your computer is, pull up your files, show them what you're working on, kind of talk them through what they're seeing. So really, it's just step by step, as if they were here. Pretend they're standing right next to you and you're guiding them through your walking space or your event or whatever it is you're doing, and just narrate it for them. Let's do one more, and then we're going to sign off for today. And again, if I did not get to answer your questions, drop me a line, drop me a message, let me know, and I will do extra videos for you throughout the course of the week. Okay, we are looking, Snapchat question. Oh, okay, good, we're on Snapchat. Which filters should I be using? Are there any I need to stay away from? Okay, listen. With Snapchat, you get to do you, boo. You need to do whatever is going to work for you. So, yes, there are things that are not professional at all. There are things that are not, like, super appropriate. So for the most part, I'm going to say use whatever you like. Test some of these things out. You can actually film whatever it is that you do, and then watch it back before you actually post it. So it does let you, on both platforms, Instagram Stories and Snapchat, it does let you preview it before you post it. So you'll know what it sounds like, you'll know what it looks like. They do tell you when it's a voice changer, and then you can kind of see what's going on as you are recording. There are a couple of filters I would say do not use. There are a couple that are a little more mature than you should be doing if you are someone who has teenage followers. And that is just teacher brain here speaking as you are an adult. They are minors. Just, there are certain things don't do. They've got some, little sexier type things. Don't do those. Okay? Just don't. Save those. If you want to use those, feel free to use them and save them, or not save them, but send them in messages to your friends, because you will have friends on Snapchat. Feel free, but don't post those to your public stories, because you will have younger people, and that's just a little bit of an awkward situation if you are in these overly sexy filters and you're talking to you about your young adult book and whatever. It's just kind of weird and awkward, so don't do that. There will be some that are just kind of weird, like some that just don't fit. Don't use those. You know your brand, just don't use those. And there are some that I would say don't necessarily use, because again, you are a professional, and it's just not going to fit with you and what you're doing in your brand. I would also, maybe, depending on what it is, skip some of those ones that are sponsored. So, like ones from movies, if they're kind of like creepy or whatever, you might want to skip like footballish type things. Not that you necessarily have to, but like for me personally, if I am doing this to further my brand as an author, I do not want to be necessarily promoting somebody else's brand. So if they've got a logo in the corner, I don't necessarily want to say, hey, check that out, look at that, support that. I kind of want to keep the focus on my brand. So in most cases, and not always necessarily, but in most cases, I would not use this within my author brand, whether it's just like a chill hangout type post or it's something related to my book. I just don't necessarily want to sponsor somebody. So that's just the thing. But that's totally up to you. You can do whatever you need to do. Totally your choice. But again, just remember your audience. Now, the key here is to make sure everybody knows that you work on these social media platforms, that you get out there and let them know. They have codes for you to give things away. They've got links for you to give things away so that you can say, hey, I'm on Instagram. Come check me out. Come watch my stories. I got a really cool one. You can give it's kind of like a QR code for Snapchat where people can scan it and just find you on Snapchat. It's kind of amazing. The goal here is to make sure you put things out there so that people know what's going on. So if you have something really cool in your Instagram stories, make a graphic, put it in your feed, and say, hey, listen, do you want to know this exclusive information about this character? It is only available in Instagram stories, and you can only catch it today. Click on my story. If you have something on Snapchat that you wanted to get out there and let people know you did something really cool, get on your Facebook and be like, I have a really good story over on Snapchat today. Show you the behind the scenes of something. Go look. Here's the link. You can do that with Instagram stories. You can connect it to all of your social media platforms and show what is going on. The key is to get it out there. The more people you let know it exists, the more people will watch it, the more people will get involved with it, and the cycle will continue because they will keep watching your Instagram stories and or Snapchats. So I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this was valuable. If it was, let me know in the comments. If you still have questions, and I see we had some questions, let me know. Hit me up. Get in those comment boxes or direct message me on social media platforms, or you can hit me up through email, and I will be answering those throughout the course of the week. I will send out emails to you guys. I will do some videos and other cool things. So make sure you check that out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm k.m. Robinson, creator of Reading Transforms and k.m. Robinson Photography, and author of Golden and the Jaded series, which is coming out in June. If you absolutely love this, you can jump onto www.readingtransforms.com, where you have access to all of our online communities, our online courses, our resources, our tutorials, our videos, our articles, and our amazing projects that we're working on over at Reading Transforms. You can also jump into community.readingtransforms.com. That'll kick you over to our closed Facebook group. I'm in there all the time teaching you how to work within the social media algorithms because I'm a social media strategist. I study these things, and I know how to get your content more seen, even though the algorithms are burying it in the feed. We talk about marketing your book. We talk about branding your author brand. I teach you how to engage your fans, equip them, and empower them to get out there and market for you. And it's complete with an amazing group of authors who are super supportive and will be there for you. They're going through the same stuff you are, and we're all there to help each other grow. I hope you join me. It's really awesome. We've got some awesome stuff going on. Next week, we are on break because it is Easter. Yay! So we will not be here next week, but we will be back soon with some really great stuff. I'm really excited about it. We're actually taking 2 weeks off because I'm going to be out of state. So 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back. It's going to be really awesome. I cannot wait. I've got some really great stuff for you. Make sure you check in. And as always, if you have not joined our show notes newsletter, join shownotes.readingtransforms.com. Tomorrow I'm going to be sending out some amazing content that goes even further in depth with what we talked about today that I did not get to on today's show. We're going to be answering some questions, doing some extra bonus stuff. Plus, I've got some freebie bonuses for you because I always do. So I do have a really great checklist for you to make sure you are prepared to figure out if you should be doing whatever it is you are doing on Instagram stories or on Snapchat. So make sure you check that out. It's going out exclusively in our show notes newsletter tomorrow, shownotes.readingtransforms.com. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. You have a great day and stay inspired.
Hey authors, I know that marketing your book can be so confusing, especially when you don't have a big budget to work with, but I want you to know that there are ways that you can market your book without costing you a cent. I have come up with a list of 20 totally cost-free marketing ideas that you can implement into your marketing strategy and see the same great results that my own authors have seen when they implemented it into their marketing plan. You can get your very own totally free copy of how to market your book creatively and effectively, even when you're flat broke, if you jump on to www.readingtransforms.com. Up near the top, you're going to see a spot where you can download it completely for free. It is my gift to you. I hope that you take this PDF and you use it in your marketing strategy and see incredible results, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm K.m. Robinson of K.m. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired. Do you have a new book releasing soon? Do you want to create a unique experience for your fans on your book release day? Do you want to interact with your fans, celebrate your book, and be the talk of the industry? Book launch live events bring all this and more right into your grasp. Rita Award winner and New York Times bestselling author Pin Tip Dunn called it the highlight of my release day. Dying to find out if this is for you? Visit booklaunchlive.readingtransforms.com for more info and see if this is the perfect thing for your release day. Do you ever feel like you're alone in the book world? When the conferences die down and you're sitting in front of your computer alone writing your next manuscript, things can seem very isolated. But they don't have to be. Do you ever feel like social media changes are getting the better of you? Do you feel like you need support that you just don't have? You don't have to be on your own trying to solve the algorithms. Join the Reading Transforms community for a group of authors and book world professionals going through the same things as you. Connect and support one another. Hear from industry leaders on technology changes, and get the latest updates on RTTV, the weekly live broadcast that teaches you to market your books and brand yourself more efficiently and creatively. Get the community and support that you've been longing for, and surround yourself with authors just like you. We'll see you there.